Messi talks growth of MLS on NBC. The MLS playoffs are heating up. The NBA's betting mess and what soccer learned the hard way. Plus, Vini and Lamine after a chaotic Clásico. I'm Danny Solana, and I'm joined by Nico. And we have a new face on This is Football. Let's give a warm welcome to Edgar Carrillo. How are you doing, Edgar?
Oh, first of all, thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be here talking about what we love the most outside the important things of life, which is sports and especially football.
Absolutely. And Nico, nobody cares about how you're doing, but let's ask you anyways. How are you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. The Clásico is back. I'm excited to talk about that, brother.
Me too, me too. But before we get there, let's remind everybody to like and subscribe the video before we go on, and also hit the little bell notification so you are notified every time we drop some new content. But let's get right into this because we have a busy day to talk about. Let's get right into Messi. All right, so Messi finally gives an interview, guys. He gives an interview. We know that the American media has criticized Messi for not talking as much as other athletes, but he finally talked yesterday to NBC. Was there anything that you guys heard that hasn't been heard from Messi before?
It's hard. It's hard because he's done, especially after the World Cup, so many interviews, and in the beginning, I would say 2022, 23, I was interested in watching all of them, but it became so repetitive, and you could hear when Messi says during the interview, "Como ya lo dije antes, como ya lo dije antes," and everybody ends up asking the same questions. Come on, I think that the ones that I've enjoyed the most are the ones made by Argentinian comedians because it's something different, and you hear him talk about different things, life in Miami, if he goes out with the guys on the team, stuff like that, and things about his everyday life, right? Something that can bring Messi down to earth a little bit with us earthlings.
Yeah, like he said, a little bit more relatable. I was a little bit surprised with his take on the MLS, and when he spoke about what MLS is missing, pretty much saying, hey, if you want soccer to grow here, you gotta remove that salary cap. That's what I was surprised the most. I never saw Messi give those type of answers, but other than that, there was not a lot that you can take from it. Like we still don't know if he's going to play the World Cup. He keeps delaying that, even though he signed up to
Come on.
2028.
He's going to play the World Cup.
Believe, right. He's definitely going to play the World Cup.
But I want to get into what you mentioned, Nico, because I thought it was kind of like an indirect shot at the MLS or at possibly Don Garber, the commissioner of the MLS, because we know that the MLS owners love this parody. And there's a group of the fan base of MLS teams that also love this parody. I'm not a fan of it. I've been no stranger to saying it on social media, to saying it in public. I hate parody. I hate the fact that they have a salary cap, and I wish they would get rid of it. So I love the fact that Messi went out on national television and said that to the world and basically said, hey, the only way or the best way that this league is going to grow is if they get rid of the salary cap and allow the owners to bring or to have the freedom to bring the players that they want. And not only that, but he ended that comment by saying a lot more important players are going to come to this league if you do that. And I think that is the key part about what he said, because that's what MLS wants, right? To bring more important players.
Yeah, and that's what almost like he knows.
That's what brings fans to the stadiums, and it's been proven once and again. And at the end of the day, guys, the sports universe resembles life. There's poor teams and there's rich teams as they are poor people and rich people. And look at MLB baseball, for example. They are doing excellent without that salary cap or a more reasonable one. I have known personally players that make under, I'm talking about the MLS, under $100,000, which is for a professional sports is unacceptable.
There was one player on Inter Miami who was making that salary, and Yannick Bright, who today signed a contract extension, and now we know he's going to be making a little bit more than that $80,000.
But going back to the, removing the salary cap and all that, I know that Messi has the type of owner that would actually benefit from that and that would actually want to do that. I'm not so sure a lot of owners in the MLS would want that to happen, especially because of how much they pay their franchise for. To them, it's still a profit. They get shared revenue all around the American model way. And I'm not so sure.
All right, let's stick with the MLS. Let's move away from the Messi interview, but I want to ask you guys because there's been a lot of talk in the media on social media about this format that the MLS playoffs has. They have a 3-game first round and then they go to single elimination for the semifinals, conference finals, and MLS Cup finals. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Nowhere in the world do they play that type of format. Even in the playoffs in Mexico, they play ida y vuelta. I
Yeah,
don't get
yeah.
it. Why do they
Or
do
they have a
that?
play-in. Yeah, I mean they have a play-in just like we have here. But yeah, the best of three series is bonkers. You got to remove that. If you want to keep that, you might as well just bring back the shootout that we had in the '90s. I don't know if you guys remember that. That was fun.
The
If you
problem
want,
the problem for me is uniformity. Like if you're gonna have those 3-game series to make you different from everywhere else in the world, then do all the series a 3-game a series, not only one and then a single elimination. It's that mixture that it doesn't just. I don't.
yeah,
I
but
don't
the
know.
season, then the season will have like 60 games.
Yeah,
Well,
but
that
at
too.
least it'll be fair because look, right now you're playing 3 games where there's no goal aggregate, so it doesn't matter. Like Inter Miami won their first playoff game, and
Look at what happens.
it doesn't matter.
But this is what could happen. Inter Miami won their first game. Their second game, they can tie and lose in penalties, and in the third game, they could also tie and lose in penalties, and they will be eliminated. They will
That's
be
ridiculous.
eliminated by not getting eliminated in 90 minutes.
But that's what I'm saying. The fact that they have the penalties in there makes it even more ridiculous. I think they need to do away with
Yeah,
that.
leave that shit in the League's Cup or something else. Like one of those tournaments.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on that because I know it's been around the rounds on social media. A lot of people are talking about it, and again, we all agree that it's absolutely ridiculous. All right, I want to get into the hottest part of the episode. We're gonna get into what's been going on over the last couple of weeks in the NBA and what we've
Oh,
seen in soccer in the past. The NBA sports betting scandal is up next. All right. The NBA sports betting scandal has been absolutely, to take a word out of your book, Nico, bonkers. Last week, we learned about the 2 players in the NBA, well, 3 really, Damon
oh,
Jones, Chauncey Billups, former players, and current player, Heat player, Terry Rozier, were involved in a scandal with the mafia, with betting on games that they played in, that they left the game early, just crazy things. I mean, what is your guys' opinion on that? And what is your guys' opinion on sports betting in general?
Well, first of all, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's so many things going on that we have no idea about.
yeah.
First of all, what I have to say about gambling is it has always existed. It's just that with the decision by the Supreme Court to make it legal or to allow the states to decide if it's legal or not, and I believe it was 2019. Now everybody with the phone can place a bet. Whereas before that, you would have to get a bookie or whatever, and now it's taxed and it's legal and everyone can do it. So, you know, um, I don't know what to say. I'm not against it. I'm not against it, but definitely players should know better than getting involved in those activities.
Look, there's nothing I love
Yeah.
better than sitting on my couch on a Sunday afternoon with my phone, watching football and betting on, anytime touchdowns or who's going to get as many yards. So I love the sports betting in general. Nico, sorry to cut you off.
No, no, no. You were right on that. I was going to tell you. I've done a few parlays myself. It's not the end of the world. We've done that before. The only thing that I'm against is, like Edgar was saying, when it starts involving athletes, like we heard, with Rozier, that he was betting on himself, whether he was getting injured or not, and we've seen it in other sports as well. We actually seen it in soccer, particularly in the Premier League. I think it was like 2 years ago with Sandro Tonali when he actually got involved in one of those cases. So it's not something new. We also saw it in the '90s in the big scandal with Juventus. the Calciopoli scandal.
Don't forget
It's
about
not something new.
Ivan, this guy at the forward.
Ivan
Oh,
Toney,
Ivan
yeah, he
Toney.
had an 8 month
Ivan
ban.
Toney. Yes, he had an 8 month ban. That's right. That's correct. So it's happened before in soccer. It actually happened recently in Turkey with over 300 referees. With sports betting scandals. They were betting on games that they were actually refereeing themselves. So it's just ridiculous. But it's something that I don't know how they're going to be able to control. Honestly.
And
I read a report. Guys, about in 2023, 12% of match fixing scandals were in the Brazilian league.
oh wow! And the thing is, no one's interested. Not Vegas, not of course the sports leagues or the teams are interested in rigging games because it not only damages the industry itself, but it also is prejudicial to the sports books. Nobody wants to
Right.
bet on a rigged game. If you know it's rigged, of course you will not bet on it.
I mean,
Right.
if somebody gave me the information, I probably would. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, you're gonna bring the book from Back to the Future? Okay, Marty McFly.
The almanac, the
Hey,
almanac.
Yeah.
absolutely. Do you guys think that this could be a possible issue within U.S. soccer and within MLS in general? Because we have yet to hear about any sort of match fixing scandals. We've heard about this in the NBA in the past, right? With referee Tim Donahue. We've heard about this with baseball, with steroid gate and different ways to fix the sport. But
Rose.
we haven't really heard about it in U.S. soccer in the past.
Well, I think I used to think the problem was, in leagues that are not that rich as professional leagues in the United States will be more prone to have these kind of issues. I mean, amateur tennis players or college players that aren't making that much money would, be less
Right.
tempted to become involved in these activities. But now, I mean, Terry Rozier, he had a contract of $90 million and was making $25 million a year. So I really don't get it. I really don't get
Well,
it. Why you risk
because
everything, a
yeah, so
career?
he had apparently he had a tax lien against him from the IRS around
Okay,
that
but why
time as
would you?
well.
Why would you? But why would you risk your whole career over that? It just doesn't make sense.
Well,
And,
it
and,
goes a
and
little bit deeper than that. Remember, the mafia was involved in some of this stuff as well.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna start to find out little by little as the investigation goes. The crazy thing here is that the NBA knew about this back when it happened. They already investigated it and they cleared him. And the FBI continued to investigate. And now he had to spend a night in jail because he got indicted.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
yeah,
nuts.
you were saying career, but in this case, it's also they risking doing time and for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they are not playing. They are not playing. The NBA or the sports books, Vegas, they are very, very. Ellos no quieren que su negocio se les perjudique
Así.
con este tipo de trampas y de cosas que lo que hacen es desprestigiar no solamente a las ligas, sino al negocio de las apuestas, que es multibillonario.
Y,
Yep.
and the ones that run it is the mafia, so you don't want to mess with them, as we all know. So, all right, let's get into some craziness over the weekend. Nico talked about it. El Clásico is back. Let's get into it. All right. If it wasn't for the pre-match jabs that Yamal took at Real Madrid, calling them cheating and complaining, stirring the pot, or the post-match skirmish involving Vini Jr. and Lamine Yamal, there was security, there was police, there was images of what happened during the confrontation. Guys, if there's anything that this said about this weekend is El Clásico is back. No more boring Clásicos where Barcelona goes on 5-6 game win. It is back, baby.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad it's back, honestly. I like the little drama that it created. I think Lamine Yamal rattled a whole fan base with his comments in the Kings League, and I know Edgar isn't happy about the result this weekend, but, it's good. It's good for the sport and it's good for it to go, looking for it forward.
As you know, Nico, I've been a Barcelona fan for over. I mean, since the Romario era and Stoichkov, and for over 30 years. And I've been hearing some criticism about Lamine Yamal having to behave as a grown man. Come on, man! It's what makes it spicy. The competition. I want that. I want the edge before every match. Let them talk. Let him talk. He's a kid. He
Yeah.
is a natural talent, and I mean he's not really breaking any laws by doing that. I
No, but
like it.
No,
I like the
I
confidence.
don't like it. I like the way that Messi did it. Messi was quiet. He would show up during
but
the game and
but
he would put three
uh,
goals on Real Madrid.
right, but to each their own. He's that's not his style. His style is the swagger. His style is the talking back.
Exactly.
I'm okay
That's
with
who he
that.
is. That's who he is.
The only thing I would have against it that he has to learn is if you're gonna dish it out, you better take it. You better back it up. All right. So if you're gonna dish out prior to El Clásico, hey, I've done this before. We
You
scored
better
four
show
on you
up.
in the past.
You better
You
show
better
up.
show up because what you did last Clásico, that was drop a stinker. Lamine Yamal was no show in the game last week.
Well, he was very solitary on
Estaba
that.
cagado.
It's cagado, but he needed help. He needed help, and the absence of Rafinha, Lewandowski, and
Yeah,
Lani Olmo, and
yeah,
that, it was
yeah,
felt.
we
It
can
was
talk
felt.
tactics. We can talk tactics, and of course it was felt. But I almost feel like what he did by talking prior to the game is ignite the Real Madrid players to
Oh,
play at a higher level at the
it gave
game.
him bulletin board. It gave him bulletin board material
Yeah,
to put into the locker room to say, hey, este tipo va a hablar mierda. Bueno, we're gonna come out y lo vamos a callar. And that's exactly what they did because he didn't do absolutely anything. Obviously, like Edgar said, they're missing a bunch of players, but we've seen him even when they're missing those players shine in other games. And in this game, it looked like for some reason El Bernabeu le pesó mucho.
yeah, yeah. And I'm not okay with what Carvajal did after the game. I think that was unnecessary. Un tribunero, it was
See, I'm okay with that because if you're gonna talk before the game, yeah, if you're gonna talk before the game, I'm gonna
but
come after you after
and
the
look,
game. I'm gonna say,
yeah,
you're gonna talk, dale,
yeah, yeah, but you're the
habla
captain of
ahora.
the national team. If you're one of the captains of the national team and you know he's 18 years old and he's young and you want to, you know, uh, maintain a certain environment in the national team, you don't go out and do that type of act. You have his phone number, like De Jong said. You have his phone number. Call him or talk to him prior to the game and tell him, let him know, hey, what you did is wrong. Don't go out there in this type of, environment, in this type of podcast and go and say, "Oh, Real Madrid roba, Real Madrid roba."
Yeah, it didn't sit well with me. The type of comment of Roa. If you're gonna, say we're going out there, we're gonna, drop five on you guys, then that's okay. But
That's fine.
saying that Roa, that's kind of and during
Yeah,
that podcast, it was brought to his attention, and he was like, oh no, like he retreated because he
yeah,
knew,
yeah,
he
yeah,
knew.
What do you
yeah.
think
He knew he was messing up.
what did you think of Vinicius? Because Xavi Alonso takes Vinicius out. Vinicius goes absolutely crazy talking to himself. I don't know what he was doing, but he was yelling
Oh
in
my God, un
Portuguese or
berrinche,
something while he
los
walked off the
berrinches.
field, didn't say anything, walked straight into the locker room. And I read a couple of tweets. I saw a couple of tweets say this could be the end of Vini in Real Madrid and he might be on his way to Saudi Arabia.
Well, Madrid, todo tuyo, Nico.
No, Madrid, Madrid. Well, they actually did some lip reading on him when he was coming out, and he was saying pretty much like, "Oh, it's always me. I'm getting the heck out of this club. I'm getting the heck out." And then he went straight into the locker room. Somebody actually had to carry him out and bring him out into the
The bench
standing
area.
on the bench area for him to actually be by his teammates because he was fuming, and it doesn't sit well with me either. That doesn't sit well, but also the fact that he didn't even acknowledge that he did something wrong, like just bashing on a coach on the sidelines. The coach is coaching, and Xabi Alonso has done this before. It's not the first time that Vinícius Jr. gets benched this
Now,
season.
I have a question for you guys. Would Vinicius have done that if it had been Ancelotti? I don't think so.
Absolutely not.
No, no,
So there's
Absolutely
definitely
no
not.
not.
no no respect, new coach, young coach. I don't know. It was totally wrong.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think Vinicius respects Ancelotti more because he's more like a father figure to him. But he has no filters. He has no control. And I think it's going to be something that Florentino Perez needs to value, going forward. Vinicius needs to understand that the superstar of this team is Kylian Mbappe. And it's very, very clear that Kylian Mbappe is the best player in this team. Yes, he can have a few good games here and there, Vinicius, but he's no Kylian Mbappe.
No, not even close. Not even close. All right, we're gonna start to wrap it up. Edgar, how did you enjoy your first show on This Is Football?
Well, it was for first time being here. I was very pleased to talk about football, and next time I want to propose a couple of topics
Yes.
that I will clue you in next time. So stay tuned. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And also in Spanish.
En
A little
español,
bit more
por
spice.
supuesto.
Un poquito más en español, en más
Es más natural para mí. Es más natural para mí.
más natural, seguro.
100%. Bueno, thank you everybody for tuning in with us. My bad, Nico. I forgot to ask you how you like the show, but again, I don't think anybody cares what you think. So, everybody, drop your comments.
Yamal y Vinícius ahora están también ustedes dos también, ¿no?
Sí, nosotros nos peleamos más o menos igual. Más o menos igual. Argentino, uruguayo, viste, nos damos así. Bueno, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification. And as always, we'll be back on the next one. Hasta la próxima.
See you next time.